Hey, what's up? I'm Gazbot. I'm a comic book artist, illustrator. I'm a freelance thing. I've been making a living as an artist for 10 plus years. A small part of that is doing comic books. A slightly larger, but still on the small side of that, is selling prints at conventions of fan art type stuff. I've done 10 to 15 shows the last couple years, and I've been doing shows in general the last 10 years. I did a few way back when, but consistently. So I do small little things at my local comic store, all the way up to like Wizard World kind of cons and San Francisco Comic Cons, but I had never done San Diego Comic Con. I had gone to New York Comic Con once, and then I went to San Diego Comic Con 9 times, 8-9 times, all as a either fan or as a pro who was sort of networking but still having fun and but not selling at a table. So this is my first time going to San Diego Comic Con, selling at a table, and it's gonna be a long video, but I'm gonna kind of give you the preface here. And if you don't want to watch the whole thing because it's very vloggy, you can skip to the last few minutes at the end. You'll see me here again looking like this, and I'm gonna give you the recap. But a few things to mention going into it. A week or two before Comic-Con, I did an interview with Fanboy Planet, which is a comic book podcast, talked about being there and was on the show generally speaking. Well, A, because I like those guys and it was fun, but also it helped advertise that I was going to be there. B, I actually did create an exclusive it's issue 3 preview for my comic of a sketch cover that had the official logo on it and was listed in the book and everything. And I have a YouTube channel and various other social media that have been talking about going to Comic-Con for weeks and months ahead of time, letting everybody know. Also, my wife, my tech advisor, Erzuki, recently updated my website and made it totally kick butt, and right on the front page, real big, that I will be at Comic-Con. And so I definitely did my homework and research. I got extra prints I needed, adjusted a lot of my process and streamlined for how quickly I could sell things, made sure I had prints of my comic, made sure I had art supplies, sort of did all that stuff ahead of time. And that is sort of going into what you're about to start watching as I get ready, load up the car, and drive down with my buddies. So enjoy, and again, if it gets too long or vloggy, skip to the end when you see me doing this and you'll get the recap.
Production's still going strong here at Gazbot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
see he's working
6,
hard.
7, 8, 9. 9 Shin Godzilla. Kyugo Gojira. All right, I'm Gazbot. It's Tuesday afternoon, and we're going to Comic-Con. So I'm outside, I'm loading up my car. As you can see here, it's a Honda Fit with a hatchback. It's got plenty of room, but here's the thing. I'm driving this car to my buddy the Big Dog's house, then he and I and another friend are all gonna go down together. So all of the stuff I put in here has to fit in his car, plus the 3 of us and backpacks full of clothes and stuff. Often, if I'm going to an away show that isn't very close to my house, I would fly. Since oh, that's weird, my hair looks really short because it's blonde in the light. Watch, when I come over here, it'll get longer. Ooh, ooh, nope. And now it looks longer. Anyway, I'll usually fly, and there's a weight restriction, and so that makes a lot of my decisions for me. Since I'm driving, theoretically, I could bring everything. I'm not bringing everything, but I'm bringing more than I normally would for a few reasons. 1, I'm driving. 2, it's Comic-Con, which, fingers crossed, I'm gonna do really well. Now, I don't mean really well in comparison to everyone else, but for me. If I do at least as well as I do at a normal big show that I've done around here, it'll be one of my best shows ever, but I'm hoping it'll be even better. What I hear is people say this is a great show for them. Not necessarily for comic sales, unfortunately. I am bringing my comics, I am pitching my comics, but I'm bringing plenty of prints and pins, things that actually make me money. Because I'm in the hole well, I'm not in the hole. The money's paid for. It's not like I'm in debt. But I have an account for my art, for Etsy prints and for convention appearances and things like that, that I just keep recycling that money and adding to it and then taking out some profit from time to time, so that when I'm making a big batch of prints, when I'm buying new Rubbermaids, when I'm buying a table, flight, all that, the money's not coming out of my pocket. It's coming out of like my business fund, which is built up. Originally I had to put money in, but now it's, profit coming out. Anyway, I digress. The point is, I'm gonna have to make $1,000 or $2 to break even, which I'm confident I could do, but hopefully I'll make more than that. But it's the thing I've talked about before, bringing enough prints and not selling out, but not bringing so many, it's a waste of time and effort and money and whatever else. And I probably erred on the side of bringing too many because I've never done this show before and I don't wanna run out, and I have kind of a big nut to make, as they say. But I'm loading up, is my point. And I've taken a few steps to make things easier this time, which I'll get into more when I'm setting up my table and we're actually at the con. I don't know how much I'll be able to film at the con, but we'll see. Fixed hand truck, it's very sturdy, carries a lot of weight. I'm not bringing that. Which I picked up when I went to Paramorphicon last year. It folds down so that I could put it in the car. Theoretically, I could even fly with it. I used to have one that folded up a little bit better. It was kind of like that, but folded up, but it broke pretty quickly. This one has been a little more sturdy. I think this is more for like office supplies and stuff, but I kind of am bringing office supplies. The weight limit worries me sometimes, but it's a lot easier to work with. And I'd rather make 2 or 3 trips with that than, you know, 1 or 2 trips with the one previous that was always breaking. I try to multi-use and repurpose and double pack as much as I can for space. So for example, I have a big display rack that I put on the front, but I've broken it down into these individual pieces. I'll take these pieces, I have 2 of these for my display, but I'll use this to help protect it, and then I'll put it inside the big sleeve carry case thing I have for the tripods that I use to put the thing up behind me. Now those pieces won't fit, so I'll put those in a flat Tupperware with some other stuff. You can see here I have it loaded up. Again, this is a little bit more than I normally bring, but I have 9x6 headshots, bagged and boarded. This is my pin overstock. Those are my pin, like regular stock that I would pull from that are organized. These are not organized. I have bigger prints in there. This is my backdrop setup. This is various miscellaneous stuff in a really weak Tupperware, so that's why it has nothing on top of it. Similarly, these, well, these ones don't matter, but this one is weak, so I put this on top, and it has my pin display, which could be damaged, so that goes on top. There's my hand cart, and if I come around to the front, I left a little room. I'm thinking about bringing a tripod and a few other things. I don't know if I'll be able to. I'll put my backpack right here. So this is all done. And look to make sure I didn't forget anything. And I've done this several times already, and I've made lists, but stuff always slips through the cracks. As long as it's not something super important, I'll be okay. Really wanted to bring that. There was just no way to make it work. When I got that made, it's a standee of my character, the Hurry For. When I got it made, I wanted it to be bigger than 6 feet tall so that even tall people would be dwarfed by it, which is great, except even folded up, it fills this whole box, and there's no way to fit it in the car with us and everything else. And I looked into strapping it on top, but that would have been a lot of money, and it's not my car, and I don't want to scratch the paint, and unfortunately, I can't bring it, which is a huge bummer. If I go again next year, I'm gonna have to look at more solutions. So I look over here, this is stuff I took out of my car. Those are prints that I don't need. These are comics I'm not bringing. Packing material I don't need. It's a mess in here, I know. All right, so it looks good in here. I'll close that up. Here, okay. This is, I've been moving stuff around my house and whatever, so this stuff is unrelated. But I did use this as a staging area, so I'm making sure I didn't forget anything here, and I didn't. And one last sweep of the office. Again, I staged here before I brought downstairs. It's all a multi-staging, you know, it's a stage show. These are all prints that I'm not bringing. That's extra stuff I don't need. That's pins I don't need. Extra bags and boards I'm not bringing. All right, so we're good in here. I'm reasonably confident that I have all my art and supplies packed for the show. What I don't have is clothing, hygiene stuff, food, snacks, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm working on next. All right, I just got done stuffing my trusty backpack. And now there's some lights and a few video things. Art supplies like pens and pencils, but mostly it's clothing. I'm going to be there for 7 days. I brought 8 t-shirts, 7 pairs of underwear, 7 pairs of socks, 1 hoodie in case I need it. I change the shorts I currently have on to a pair of clean shorts, and those will be my shorts the whole time. And if I spill something on it, I'll have to wash them in the sink. Pads in there, but it's so packed that I'm going to move them to a Tupperware. So bringing this lanyard, they usually give you a lanyard, but I already have my badges in the mail, and I want to be able to get in and out as quickly as possible, so I'll have a lanyard to start with at least. Lanyard, after getting done talking about that, I got paranoid about my passes, so I took all the shirts out. You can see I have other stuff in here. I found my Comic-Con box, and I'm gonna just double check. Yes, it has the badges in it. Because that would be the single worst mistake I can make. Not just for me, but for the 2 friends that I have their passes for them. So as far as hygiene and stuff, obviously got toothbrush, toothpaste. Sometimes they give it to you, sometimes they don't. I like to bring a little mouthwash. Bringing nail clippers, because I need to trim my nails and I don't have time. A little hairspray or gel or something like that if you use that kind of thing. I like to bring cough drops or throat lozenges or whatever you want to call them, because talking all day at a convention sometimes makes my throat sore. Pill box, even if you don't need medication, what do you call it? These are multiple vitamins and vitamin D, which I normally take anyway, but even if you don't, going to a con is like a smorgasbord of bacteria and infections, and you're going to be exhausted, so it wouldn't hurt to take some multiple vitamins. The ibuprofen, I don't normally take this, but I usually have a few with me just in case. Some people get headaches or muscle fatigue or whatever. I like to have a few on me just in case. Band-Aids for blisters on my feet, which I do occasionally get. This is new, Kool-Aid drops, because I always have a bottle of water, but I could put a few Kool-Aid drops in there and get a little sugary treat. And then, of course, shaving, because I'm going to be there for about a week. I'll definitely need to shave at least once. A few other things that I'm forgetting or things that you need that I don't, but just to give you an idea of what you're kind of thinking about going into it. On the theme of almost forgetting things, I just cut my hair. That was something that was on my soft to-do list, and I had time, so I cut my hair and took a shower. Didn't put any gel in it, so it's still kind of fluffy. But anyway, I almost forgot to bring a water bottle. So here's a big water bottle. This is actually my wife's. Mine isn't as big, and whatever, so I'm using hers. Also, some of these. These are basically peanut nut bars. They're not super healthy, but healthier than I normally eat. And these are for emergency breakfast when I don't have time to pick anything up, or a snack at the booth if I can't get away. Also gum or mints of some kind, because you're gonna be talking to people and you will probably have bad breath by the end of the day if you're not really eating or brushing your teeth or anything. And even if you don't, why not be minty fresh? It could help. I also usually like to bring some kind of hard candy for help with breath and just, I don't know, little teeny bit of sugar to boost you up, but I didn't have time to get those, and I do have the high C, so maybe that'll do it. I need to go to the post office on the way to my friend's house to drop off an Etsy sale, which is something else. You want to set your email away message so people know you're not around. Even if you can get back, at least they know it'll be a while. And if you have an Etsy store or something like that, either turn it off or put it on delay. I turned mine off, but I did get a sale right before I did, which is nice. But now I have to drop it off on the way to where I'm going. So I'm going to be leaving in just a minute to do that. All right, I'm taking my time getting down to the big dogs because I needed to be there between 3 and 4, and I wanted to avoid traffic, which I've done. I did stop at the post office, drop off the thing I needed to, but it's like 2:15 and I'm kind of close, so I beat the traffic, but I'm kind of taking my time. I stopped at a few GameStops because there's supposed to be this crazy Power Ranger sale. No luck on that, but the last one I stopped at was next to a Baskin Robbins, which I haven't been to in years. And it has a Stranger Things tie-in from Scoops Ahoy, the fictional ice cream store in it, where it has the SS Butterscotch like cone. I'm like, that sounds good. Went in, hey, can I get that? But I want it with a cake cone. Is that cool? Yeah, sure. But we're out of butterscotch. I'm like, the whole thing is that it's butterscotch. So anyway, in an attempt to kill time and satisfy my now burning desire for some butterscotch ice cream, which I don't even know if I like. I've never had it, but it looked good on the TV show and I'm a consumer. So I'm outside a new Baskin Robbins gonna see if they have it. Well, the good news is they got a Scoops Ahoy thing. This is what I ordered. This is what I got because I wanted it on a cake cone. Because I don't like waffle cones, and she accommodated. Actually, the butterscotch is pretty good. I'm not a huge butterscotch fan, but it's pretty delicious. Wow, that's bright. I'm gonna stand over here. But there were no sprinkles on it. So I was like, okay, I get the sprinkles? And she's like, yeah, do you want the red, white, and blue? I'm like, yeah, because that's what it is. But on the other one, they're kind of baked into the cone. So oh my gosh, it's dripping all over. Anyway, it's pretty good. Check it out. All right, enough of that. I cleaned my hand. It's still a little sticky. I have to lick it like a cat. But I'm heading out. The power transfer has begun. This will replace this in here. It's about 8:30. We still have several hours to go. We stopped at Denny's where I got a cheese with cheese sandwich, mozzarella sticks on a grilled cheese sandwich. A lot of cheese. Feeling good. Probably gonna be farting up the car later. It smells like poop here. It's manure country. It's poopy. I think we're in Livermore or something. I don't know where we are. It's poopy. It's poopy, right?
San Diego trip. Stop. Pit stop 1. Poop smell. Everywhere.
Where is this? Livermore?
No, this is either Lemoore or Coalinga. One of the two.
Coalinga, because like nah. It's 11:30. We left about 5, stopped at Denny's, and now we are making a second stop to get gas, to go pee, to get coffee maybe. We're about 2.5 hours outside of San Diego by where the convention center is. We're going to get a hotel. We have a hotel for the convention, but not for tonight. So we're gonna get one just outside of town for a cheaper price, and tomorrow wake up and move in and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I don't even know what town we're in, but it's night. What a glorious morning to wake up to garbage trucks and dumpsters. This room, we were told has the view, and it was more expensive. Yes, certainly, certainly. People, it's about 10:15, day 2, which is day 1 of Comic-Con. There's the big dog. And we stayed at a hotel that was kind of a crappy hotel that charged a lot of money. We talked them down to not as much, a lot of money. And,
which was still a lot of money.
It was still a lot of money. And we had a terrible view. They bragged about how it had a window, and as you can see, it was garbage. But we're on our way now. We're about an hour outside of the convention. We're gonna stop at Denny's. Then we have to check into the actual San Diego hotel, and then we have to get to the convention center before 3 when they close the roads, and figure out what door I can bring my stuff in without having to go through pallet loading. So that's the adventure we're on right now. There's bags there. There's another person named Gabe, but you can't see him. There's his ear. There he is. He's got a little eye face.
The Mighty Nerdkillies on Instagram.
The Mighty Nerdkillies from Instagram. Yeah, okay. And that, and that, and that, and that, and that. No. It's 2:17, Wednesday preview night. Officially opens at 6. They start letting people in at 5:30, which I never knew until I was an exhibitor, but they always let people in 30 minutes before the advertised date. I'm not allowed to film on the show floor, so I'm kind of by the loading dock in the bathroom. We couldn't figure out where to park. The big dog just sort of idled in an area where we weren't blocking traffic. And I grabbed the handcart and I asked the security guard, can I get through here? And they said yes. And so I made 2 quick trips. I'm sweating to death. He left.
and now I've got a few hours to set up the booth and try to get some stuff with my pass sorted out. But I'm here with plenty of time, and I brought an extra shirt since I'm so sweaty. I'll need to change. But it's crazy to see Comic-Con after coming for 9 or 10 years in this not put together state that unfortunately I can't show you. There's also, if I was able to take pictures at like the Hasbro booth and at the Sideshow booth, I would get the best, clearest pictures ever because there'd be no reflections of people and things like that. But alas, I can't, and so in I go, and I'll talk to you later. I'm kind of pointing, just looking at my own stuff. The floor doesn't open for another 40 minutes or so. I have a similar backdrop to what I always have. This is similar to what I just had at Powermorphicon Express. I do have a sign up. This one probably isn't super visible. I might have to put another one up in a minute. Down here, this is new. These are all my bins of prints, but I have them laying, pointing straight up, so I could flip through them like this, and they're all bagged and board. Maybe not sealed, but bagged and board. So I have my 3 different sizes. These 3 are not really in any order. These are in the exact order of their Power Ranger headshots, and they're in the chronology that they would appear for the most part. And then in the back, I have the Transformers and other things that don't fit in. And that's the same order as that Tupperware right there. The 3 cases here that I could dig through, that's all empty boxes. That's extra comics. I have a bunch of stuff, including my hand truck and everything, all tucked in here. Extra giveaways, extra bags if I need them. And yeah, let me get around to the front. So coming through, you can see my neighbors. This is the setup I have. It's very similar to what I normally do. The main difference is I've made my comics a lot more prevalent. I have issues 1 and 2 of the horror, as well as the show exclusive, which I propped up. I have Kid Switch. I have Life in Space Anthology #1. I have the Nessie art book, which I am in and have permission to print and sell in the booth. Over here, I have the set of headshots. I have the price there. This is the newest thing. It used to be all headshots, maybe this. Tried to do a mishmash of putting up some of my 8x8s, a couple Power Rangers again, a Ninja Turtle. This is the pin display, so people ask what they want. And then just 3 here that the big dog suggested I put some colorful ones. I feel like Voltron will do well for people that even aren't into my other stuff, because like the Netflix show and things like that. I of course have my book for people to flip through that has everything. In the back, I brought just a few pieces of original art. My original art is so weird, it'll not sell at all, and then I'll sell 3 pieces of the show. So I never know what to bring or how much to bring, but I always bring a few. And yeah, looking at it from back here, you can see that price. I feel like there's a little bit of a gap there, so I might tape another headshot in there possibly, or actually maybe I'll move that price sign there to fill that gap. I think that's what I'm gonna do, but otherwise done. I might, maybe I'll put a horror print right here or another prints in front. I'm not sure. I'm always on the fence about putting prints in the front. Let me look around. See, people have their signs, but not necessarily prints. There are their prints. I don't know, we'll see. 4 minutes to go, but again, I'm in good shape right now. If people came in right now, it'd be fine. I'm just tweaking now, but yeah, actually, maybe I'll go pee. I'm gonna go pee. Partially because I spent $4.50, or it was $5.50. It was like $5 for this Gatorade, which I don't like. It's blue, but it's some kind of weird raspberry. So I left my water bottle at the hotel room. So the little Kool-Aid thing I brought, I did bring it, but it's not doing me any good. Almost forgot to change my shirt, which I just did, from my sweaty, stinky one. So now I'm slightly fresher. It's you! In about 3 minutes. I was saying that I thought it opened already because I've noticed an increase in volume and activity, but one of my table mates pointed out that no, it's just vendors and volunteers that are done with their duties that are now allowed to walk around and shop and stuff, which makes sense because the big dog went to go check out some stuff. But as you can see, there's some people around, but not much. And none of these are like quote unquote customers yet. But in a few minutes, they're gonna open the door and there'll probably be a flood that will probably not hit us, but it will exist. They just opened the doors. It ripped, so I took the other one and just, now I have 2. Good, why not? Officially open for about 15 minutes. It's gotten busier, not necessarily where we are, so no, not so much, but in the aisles near us, if I turn a little bit slowly so I don't make you sick, you can see it's crazy. People kind of got in and ran to try to get the exclusives, most of which aren't on sale tonight, but they don't know that. And then I guess hopefully they'll filter over here. I did sell 1 pin, so there's that. 7 o'clock. We've been open officially for an hour, unofficially for an hour and a half. I've sold 2 pins for $1 each. It's starting to get a little busier now for the first time. I think people either got their exclusives or gave up on their exclusives or whatever. It's picking up, but it's yeah, it definitely was not an exciting gangbusters time in the beginning there. I resorted some things and I made a new sign. Ooh, yeah, and that's it. For something, the con, I don't even know what. Usually they don't want the lines go over there. It's getting crowded. I realized though that while I don't have my bottle of water, I did buy this gross Gatorade, washed it out, have some water, not super cold. I could have water, but I could also put my Kool-Aid in it, so I'm gonna have some Kool-Aid. It's about 10 after 8. We close at 9. 2 pin sales still total. It's gotten more busy with people walking by. Had a few conversations. Not a lot of sales. Not even a lot of like almost sales. Just like talking to people. Yeah.
I didn't have any examples, so I just started doodling him, a thing that also might draw some interest.
And it hasn't been succeeding. One person stopped and watched for a while, and when I looked up and said hello, they walked away. Inside, this is, everybody got kicked out, plus a couple vendors and exhibitors like me. It was 3.5 hours today, and it was not good. Made 2 pin sales, 1 actual good sale at the end, where somebody bought a bunch of Godzilla prints, which was awesome. And I decided to give them a free issue of the Horror for #1, and hopefully that will be make him a fan of that too. And there we go. Hey, here's Gabe. So the things we were going to go to in the downtown are closed by 10 o'clock, even though the show ended at 9. So we are headed to a 24-hour diner that I forgot existed, that the lovely tech advisor Urzuki reminded me of. But it's like a 15-minute walk, and I think I have to fart, so there's that. It's crazy how not crowded it is here today. So we switched, that line was crazy long, and we are at Coyote Ugly / Samurai Pizza Pie. It's $10, 5 wings for $10 or something. I wanted to get a cheese pizza, but they said you have to order a whole pie. They don't know who they're messing with. I only order whole pies. So, gonna eat that, get some decaf soda of some sort, and hopefully go to sleep by midnight, because I gotta get up at 8 at the latest tomorrow. I just looked at the time, it's almost 11. There's no way I'm going to sleep by midnight tonight.
Spoke too soon. This mediocre pizza defeated me. In my defense, it wasn't great, and it's super dough. It's like a dough ball. Dough ball.
Day 2, it is, what's today? Thursday. It's not even the weekend yet. It's a little after 8. I don't know about the big dog. You want to be on camera here? Sure. Look at, we're tired.
Incredibly disheveled.
Yeah, disheveled, tired. I got 6 hours-ish of sleep, maybe less, which isn't so bad, but that's...
I feel like it's more than your normal sometimes.
Sometimes, but, well, for shows, certainly, but this is the 3rd or 4th night in a row that's happened, so it's starting to add up. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have better sales. In the morning, Big Dog's gonna watch my table because I have a Hasbro line pass for the 2 of us. Oh, my eyes, look, I can't open them all the way.
That's how I am all the time.
I see. Got this little place next to Pete's. I don't like Pete's coffee so much, but their tea's okay. And the Big Dog recommended the cookies at the place it's connected to, so I'm trying that. It's about 8:30. We're cutting it close because doors open at 9, but I'm not gonna have a chance to get any food or snacks or coffee after this probably, so whatever. This is more of a standard entrance, unlike yesterday. I feel almost like I'm normal attendee, but I'm not. And in the morning, super dead. Put together, but imagine if it was like this all the time. Nice air conditioning, wide rows, everything covered with tarps. That's the way to shop. So the Big Dog is watching my booth. It's a few minutes to 9. The doors will open in a second. I have a Hasbro pass from Hasbro Pulse. He can't use, so he's got to watch my booth while I go get stuff for both he and myself. I'm walking over there now. I don't think I'm going to be able to use it until 9:30, but I'm actually walking the floor for the first time since I got here when it was not even open. Hey, there's Emo. So there is, I know Toho's here, and they have some cool Godzilla stuff that I'm going to see if I can maybe catch a peek of that before I end up in the Hasbro line. Yeah. I'm done. I got a huge bag of Hasbro stuff for myself and the Big Dog, and oh cool, here's a She-Ra statue. Let's check her out. She-Ra! Yes. As much as the lottery system stinks when you don't win, getting that Hasbro Pulse win and being here right when it opened, I literally was first online. It was super easy, barely an inconvenience. Dropped my stuff off and used the restroom and was gonna relieve the Big Dog, but he's like, you know what, I don't have anything going on in the morning. Take a quick walk around, so I shall. I'm gonna try to go to Toho, and then maybe swing by Hasbro and a few other things. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the show for a minute. I don't know, it seems weird, but I'm gonna try.
He says it's the particular time to go up there. It's the same time every day and the same amount. That's what he said.
Hey, excuse me, are you guys still selling the prints for the signing tomorrow? Or?
Yes. I may have a little bit because I've
Hey, excuse me. Are you guys still selling the prints for the signing tomorrow? Or? Yes. Okay.
I may have a little bit because I've only read one other piece for that.
Well, it's been like 20 minutes of walking around. I checked out the Nika booth. They had some awesome Ninja Turtle stuff, and tried to get into Tamashii to get Dragon Ball Z stuff, but still can't. And tried to get a picture with the Godzilla stuff, but I couldn't. I did look at the replicas from Toho, which was cool. Not replicas, props. Actual props from the movies is what I meant to say. And I'm heading back to the booth now to check on the big dog. Depending on how he feels, I might head over and try to talk to some Ranger actors at the Morphicon booth. Otherwise, I will be done. Mattel has the Spider GP7 machine and the Turtle van that I wanted to get, but the line is nuts, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. A piece of useful stuff I did is I stopped by Boom to see if I could finally get a contact, because I'm trying to do a variant store cover for a while, and I actually got a card of somebody to talk to about it later, so progress in a professional sense as well. Small press, not the area I am, but also there's some against the wall, which I'm not sure if that's still the normal part of small press, or it counts as like an edge booth you have to pay more or something for. I'm noticing a lot of these booths aren't open, which surprises me. I see it at other shows, but here at Comic-Con San Diego, the biggest in the world, I don't know, that always rubs me the wrong way. I feel like take it seriously if you're going to be here. You're spending so much money and time and effort. Even if you came in and walked away is better than just never opening. Hey, look, it's the big dog. Okay, so the big dogs were watching the table. I went back and checked with him, went over to see if I could talk to a couple Ranger actors for the show. Also St. John was there, but he was way too busy to talk to. I talked to Dwayne Cameron, who is Mercury Ranger from Overdrive. He is possibly interested in coming on the show, but not doing an interview here, but I did get a shout out, which is nice. All right, it's a little after 10, maybe close to 10 something. I checked in with the big dog who's watching my booth, gave him all my stuff, told him how I got the shout out, and he sold the print while I was gone, so that's good. But he wants me to go look at Hasbro because he wants to talk about Hasbro exclusives, and I don't want him to talk to me because I want to look for myself. So he's like, well, go. And I'm like, don't you want to have fun? He's like, I'll have fun talking to you about exclusives because that's how the big dog rolls. So I'm going to Hasbro.
Ace.
I'm not stalking you.
No, you're good.
Who else knows their trivia? Marvel Comics trivia.
Alright, I'm heading back now. I went to Hasbro, looked at everything, it was cool. I think a lot of stuff has yet to be revealed because there was a lot of stuff that's already been released, which happens and they reveal things throughout the show. I did run into Robo from The Floosh, who is one of my favorite toy reviewers. And as I'm saying that, there's Pixel Dan. Pixel Dan, another toy reviewer I like, so that's funny. But I got Robo to do a little shout out for Action Activate, my Power Ranger show, which is cool. And what else did I do? I don't know, some other stuff. But I'm heading back to the booth. I sold a few prints, I think it's picking up, so it's time for me to actually work. So I actually should have checked the time. I think it's like 11:30, and as you can see, it has been much busier today. This is kind of how it's been. Not necessarily sales, a few here and there. Definitely conversations, definitely traffic, so that's much, much better. And while sales haven't been brisk, I haven't been bored. Even when I got back to the booth, I've been having conversations. I've made a few sales. I've actually made a little bit more than I made yesterday in about the same amount of time. So not that that's great, but it gives me a little hope. And it's a little less depressing today. It's 1:30. Things have picked up. Still hoping the big dog calls it a bell curve. We're gonna hit and then peak, and that inevitably will happen. I'm just hoping that the peak is good enough to sustain everything else. But certainly things have picked up. I don't have a tally, but better than it was at least. Addendum. I was going to get a soda. I got a break from the big dog. I used the restroom. I was gonna get a soda. $5. So I'm like, but I was gonna treat myself to like a Dr. Pepper or something, maybe get some non-diet, caffeine-free, just whatever. And all they had was like Sprite and Diet Pepsi and Pepsi, and I'm like, I don't want to spend $5 for that. So I tried the Kool-Aid thing again yesterday. I put too much in, and it was disgustingly sweet, but I drank it because I needed something. This time I got it just right. So happy do, happy goo.
See that guy with the hat and the big beard? That's Brian Hussein, the comedian, actor, Deadpool writer. He just walked by. That's all.
Just had somebody ask me to sign the Usagi Yojimbo book, tribute book, Stan Sakai book that I had done a while back. Every now and then somebody has me want to sign them. It's cool. It makes me feel legitimate.
It's slowed down a little bit again.
It's been doing that exact thing where it's been too busy to really relax, but not necessarily making tons of money, having some conversation stuff, but I have a commission. And every time I sit down to work on it, I have to talk to someone or get up, and not necessarily make a sale, but I have to clear my throat, but I have to stop. So it's sort of like, oh, well, if I start drawing, I'll have something to do, but I kind of have to keep stopping. Meanwhile, my stomach's been rumbling because I realized all I ate all day was 3 cookies and a coffee and some high C. So I'm eating this peanut bar brought with me, which is good. It has actual nutrition. I mean, it also still has sugar. I'm gonna die.
Back to my table, and I have to fight to get to it. That is a good feeling.
Wait, what?
See that sign? Exhibitor Services Center? Service Center?
That's where I was just walking back from. I actually went upstairs, and that's where they have all the fan areas, and they have another little like cafeteria area, still overpriced, still not good. Didn't get anything. Came down, filled up my water bottle with water this time because I've had way too much sugar. And I realized downstairs by where the escalators are and like the behind the scenes, that's the exhibitor service area. And it's a couple booths that look like information booths with people sitting at them and curtains half drawn. So I guess if you have a problem, you talk to them. Not very helpful or exciting. I was hoping for like free coffee and potato chips. Attention attendees. There we go. Yeah.
Con's over. I'm heading out. Right now it's only exhibitors.
It was better than yesterday. Well, it was better for a couple of reasons. I had a little bit of fun in the morning, not a lot, but I ran around a little bit because the big dog watched my booth, and I set up a few things professionally. So I felt for a minute like, oh, I'm actually at Comic-Con, whereas the rest of the time I just feel like I'm at any other show. And I did make some more sales, and it was like sort of a mediocre day. It was like a fine, average, medium day for a regular. So I got cut off because my cousin called me. I'm going to meet him for dinner. We're going to go to the Corvette Diner, which is a place I love around here. But he can't park anywhere near here, so he had to find a 20-minute parking spot, like a 10-minute walk away, and I'm going to meet him there. So that's that. That walk ended up, well, I'm still on it. I'm almost there. It ended up being longer than I thought because it didn't occur to me leaving at the exact same time as everyone else would cause delay, and I had to literally wait online to cross the street at the light. So I had to wait till it lit. They like 50 people go again, so that added to my time. Shockingly, when millions of people leave the convention center, it adds to your time. And here I am at the Corvette Diner. It's loud, it's pink, it's gaudy, it's full of gimmicks, and I love it.
Tried it. That's powerful.
I have a Pikachu hand and a snazzy hat because we're in Corvette Diner. Look at that, he's a madman. He does water, he's a waterman. She has Wonder Woman wings because Wonder Woman has wings. We're all happies. Yo, I'm just chilling with the Statue of Liberty. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. Day 3, Friday.
Before the calm. What? No, other way. Walking to the booth. The big dog's watching it for me, so it's not like it's empty right now. Much busier today. It's about, I think it's 10:30, and this is where it was later in the day yesterday. So definitely picking up. I've only made one sale. Big dog didn't make any while he was watching the booth, but a lot of people stopping by asking, giving out a lot of cards, a lot of pay. I'll stop back, which sometimes actually comes true.
All right, top. Hello. Look, it's me with...
Hey everybody, Dylan Distraction here, coming to you live from San Diego Comic-Con. I'm with the one and only Gazbot, the incredible Gaz. I know, it's a thrill. The two of us, the dynamic duo.
We're the diapernamic duo, is that what you said?
Diapernamic duo, because we're a little older than we should be and we need diapers. But thank you so much for tuning in. Gazbot is here crushing it. If you haven't yet, you've got to check out his work. It's phenomenal. He's doing awesome stuff.
This is not live.
And so edit this so I look cool.
It's still Friday. It's about 1:30. It's about as busy as it was yesterday, maybe a hair more. But as far as sales, similar to yesterday, which is a little disappointing. I hope it'd be a little better, but the day's young. Prints, and I have my new system, and these were getting low, and these are the sorted labeled ones. So I was taking from the overstock and throwing them in here. So once again, pins always do well, and I'm glad I brought them. Look, it's a different view. Now you can see what I see. Although if you're really seeing what I see, it'd be like down in this area. So this is more accurate. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe over here. So anyway, it's about 3:45. Things have picked up the last hour or so. Has gotten pretty busy. I went and did an interview with Tracy Lynn Cruz for the Action Activate show, which was cool. And the big dog's watching the table, and yeah, the last hour or two got more sales than the whole day, and possibly more than yesterday. And there's some customers, so I gotta go. Okay, as I was saying, it's 4:30. We just hit a busy bunch. I don't know. I'm getting really tired. I've had some caffeine today. I didn't plan on it, but I needed to get tea because my throat is starting to get toasty, and they only had caffeinated. And then I wanted a soda. Anyway, I'm on caffeine, so I'm awake, but I'm tired. I realize these days are 10-hour days, which is long even for me, especially since I'm more or less by myself. And I'm just talking over the din and doing interviews. I'm worried about my voice tomorrow for the interview, but things have picked up, which is nice. A couple things I've noticed. If you look, my comics there, I no longer put bags and boards on them at all, and I try to just have stacks loose. And while they're not flying off the shelves, people are picking them up, looking at them more. A few more sales here and there. I just had a kid look one and basically read the whole thing, and his parents bought it from him. That was a great sale because I didn't pitch it at all. The kid just bought it. I've been trying to give out a lot of cards, both for the Action Activate show and for my own art stuff. And sales have been up overall. There was something else I was going to mention that I thought of, I learned, and now I don't know what it is. So stay tuned for when I remember that. It's about 6:30, about 30 minutes till the closing of the show floor. I just had the big dog watch table, and I took a walk and tried to get another interview. Did not secure that. Had a nice chat though, so that was fine. The thing I was trying to remember before was yesterday I didn't feel good all day because I just had a little bit of sugar, and that was it. I didn't even have caffeine, I just had sugar basically, and felt terrible all day. Today I had some peanuts and like it was still like candy-ish, but it had protein in it. And then I had for lunch some like veggie straw chip things. Not a lot because I don't want to have a heavy stomach, but just enough to keep something in my stomach so I didn't feel sick. And while I was drinking caffeine, I got soda and things like that. I drank a full one of these in between each one. So not exactly the picture of health, but I feel a lot better today. I sense a disturbance in the force. I feel that soon those without exhibitor badges will be exiled from the exhibitor hall.
The exhibit hall is now closed.
As predicted! Some things off of my booth. I'm gonna I was gonna say run, but sort of briskly walk over to the Toho booth to see if I could just get a picture with that Godzilla. Even if I can't do the full green screen experience, maybe they'll just let me stand there and take my own picture. Who knows? I don't know if you can see, but they have a boys experience, and they're basically stunt fighting each other. I don't know what happens when you go in, but when you're outside, you see this. They look like they have wires attached, so maybe they jump off at some point. Now it's Spaghetti Factory. Super sore, super starving. To the victor goes the spoils. And by victor, I mean anyone who did a convention in any capacity. That was harder than I thought it would be. I'm in the old Spaghetti Factory, which is a place I found here in San Diego, like, I don't know, the second or third time I came to Comic-Con. And I loved it. I made a point of coming back here every time. And it was my special San Diego spot that I then later realized there was one about 10 minutes from my house that I had never gone to. It's a big box, saran wrap. 8:18, I probably should have put some more gel in my hair looking at it now. But anyway, we got here early so that we could walk the floor a little bit. The table's already all set up, and we're just gonna go do a little walk, Rooney bouts. Dracarys. It's about 2:30 Saturday. Started quite slow, sold a few pins. Definitely picked up. It's as busy or busier than it was yesterday. It's hard to tell because we're not done yet, but I'm on track to maybe do better than yesterday. Got another interview, which was cool, and the big dog's been helping me out so I can finish up a commission, which I just did. One commission left. I'm on the fence of whether or not I should take more because I've been having a really hard time doing them at the table, and when I get home I'm too exhausted to do them. A couple things I've thought about for incorporating if I come back or for another big show. I have handouts, but maybe a handout that has the table and row number, because a lot of times people want to come back, they can't find it, or forget who I was, things like that. So maybe just do a small printer of like 100 or something. Also, I have been a few times when I had a good customer that bought a lot of Godzilla art, spent a lot of money, give them a free copy of issue #1, which is a $250 loss for me, but if I'm making a profit of $40, I can afford that. Maybe they read the book and get into something else I do. Also, I've thought about giving away free digital copies, which I haven't, but the gentleman next to me is giving away little mini prints that on the back has a code for a free download, and that's something, an idea I might steal, because I'd already been thinking about it, but that seems like a good way to do it. And my voice is still going, so there's that. 5:30, have an hour and a half till close. There's a little bit of a lull. The big dog's watching the table, and I'm going to try to talk to another ranger actor. I'm at Ike's to have dinner. I was going over the rough numbers. Today was actually slightly worse than yesterday by a few dollars. So today felt better because there was a lot more going on, and I was able to get away from the booth, and the big dog watched it for me, and he actually made a lot of sales. Me being away from the booth does not hurt sales. If anything, it helps sales. But yeah, I'm not feeling good about Comic-Con at all. I've had some fun conversations, ran into old friends, new friends, been talking to some ranger actors from my ranger show, but money-wise, I have not yet broken even. If I have a day tomorrow, roughly average of what I've had, I will have to do the math to see if I've broken even. It's possible I could lose money. It's possible. I don't think I will. Not a good show. Not a good show at all. So far. Do not recommend. Recommend coming, recommend networking, recommend getting into Artist Alley if you can, but yeah. I mean, I've covered my table, but I have to cover the hotel and everything else, and yeah, not looking good. Oh my God, do you hear that? That's the first time I've spoke. Day 5, Sunday, my voice gone. One of the guys we came with got really sick yesterday, possibly food poisoning. And then the big dog is less sick, but still not feeling well. Either staying in the whole time or at the very least going in late today. So I'm walking in solo. I have to have a throat lozenge. I also have a bag of stuff to give to other friends to take back for us because we're not gonna have room. And that was planned ahead of time, luckily. I've been using the little Lyft scooters. They have different brands. Lyft is the brand we've been using. Never used them before. I love them. They're kind of fun and fast, and they have been saving me from having to get a shuttle or do a half-hour walk, which normally I don't mind, but for time and fatigue at the show, it matters, especially when you're carrying heavy bags. Before switch things up a bit, even though they always talk about vertical and horizontal, I'm going to take this is my vertical, and this is my vertical. All my books flat here, pins, more flat here. It's easier to flip through the book. It was a little bit difficult last time. This was blocking part of that, so now it's not. Highlighting some more Transformers and other things that maybe weren't highlighted yesterday. And yeah, I don't know if it'll make a difference, but at the very least, it's less claustrophobic. So I did rearrange a bit. I actually cleaned this out too. There was just a bunch of junk here. It gets me real claustrophobic and like frazzled when I'm trying to look for stuff. This is much more clean and open. I think the book is more accessible. Or the big dog is more accessible. A little more, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could have flipped it this way too, whatever. My neighbor's still not here. If they don't show up, I'll take their table. I always say that. A vulture. It's close to 10. My table neighbor has not shown up, so I've spread some of my art out. And I've done this before, and it definitely catches people's eye. And it's funny because as much as I have it here and in the book and direct eyes around, there seems to be nothing better than just a flat table full of art where they can look at everything in one go. They may or may not want it, but it definitely catches their eye. They definitely stop and look. Some people like looking through the book once they start looking through the book, but they seem very resistant to doing it. And I have so much diversity of artwork that I don't know how to display it without having people to put in a little bit of effort. So I guess the trick is getting them to stop and look at something and like it enough that they will look through everything. The short version is I wish I had a second table to lay stuff flat on all the time for free. It's about 11:15. The show closes at 5 today, which is a short 8-hour day. Had a nice big sale in the beginning, and then it just slowed down to just a couple pins here and there. Speaking of pins, when people buy my comic, I usually let them, well, have started letting them pick a pin based on my comic that they can have for free. And what I think I'm going to start doing is giving these out. I've got about 20 or 30 of these that actually have the title of the book on it. And if somebody is interested but doesn't buy, or if they're wearing a Godzilla shirt or seem otherwise predisposed to like the sort of thing I do, I will give them a free horror A4 pin as a way of promoting it and one less thing to carry home. And these were paid for a long time ago through Kickstarter money for promotion, so maybe it's time to just give them away.
We're not friends in the diplomatic field.
Taken 10 seconds apart. Despite that, it's almost 1, so we're about halfway through the day, and it's been a strong start. It's been steadily busy, and sales have been decent. If it was a Sunday anywhere else, it would be good. I am close to making what I made yesterday already. So Sunday, if it keeps up, could be the best day of the con, oddly. I went to talk to a guy at Insight that had come to talk to me the other day. He had already left. He's on a plane. He's gone. So I'm going upstairs to quick get applications for next year. The big dog finally got here, and so he's watching the booth for the first time. So there's that. Oh, SpongeBob. It's about 3 o'clock. 2 hours to go, and it's been quite busy today, and I feel like we're getting to like a feeding frenzy. Everyone's like, oh, it's almost over, we gotta do something. And so I have had people that said they would come back and buy things, and people that were maybe on the fence that wouldn't have bought other days have bought. I don't think I'm doing gangbusters sales normally, but again, I think it may have actually beat yesterday I'm pretty sure I beat yesterday. Somebody left completely, they're gone 2 hours early. I don't know how long ago they left. And so we just took all our little handouts, and well, I started this because I'm the vulture, and put them all over the table. Like, hey, it's not an empty table and free advertising. So I'm a leader, I'm a winner. Things are gonna change, I can feel it. So something else I'm thinking about is, this is the handout I've been giving out for a while, and the black is not very black. The edges, for some reason, got white. Looking at the newer ones I got for my show, it's very black, it's a little bit glossy. It was about the same price, and it is better printing. On top of that, the other one is a good ad for the horror, but a lot of people are into my Godzilla or my Power Rangers and want to remember why they did it, and I don't have any indication on there that I do anything. I mean, it's got my social media, but I'm thinking it might be a good idea to have a card printed better, but also that maybe has my fan art on it as well, so if somebody wants to remember, oh, that's the kaiju guy, and still have the horror, but kind of, you know, rebrand. Additional. I think I talked about my shorts. Did I talk about my shorts? The zipper broke. Only brought one pair of shorts. I've been wearing the big dog's larger shorts with a cinched up real good and really loose and swimming in them. 2 shirts I brought were not my shirts. They are extra large shirts that I was also swimming in. So I had one last shirt that wasn't too big. It's this shirt. And I'm like, great, that'll get me through. But I didn't realize it's kind of old. It has holes under the armpit and other places. So I'm trying to wear this hoodie a lot. I didn't do good with clothing this time. 15 minutes to closing. I signed up for Artist Alley. I don't know if I'll get it. I will try it if I get it. Apparently signing up at the show and having exhibited here helps your chances because it proves that, you know, you're reliable or whatever. There we are. I just said that. I'm definitely the most tired I've been the entire time. The accumulated tired is hitting me, but also, yesterday and today were busy, and that kept my mind going. I spent the most time at the booth today without any real breaks. I took one to go check on something and came right back, and then like when I did that, I was gone and back real quick. And now that it's slowed down, like the adrenaline is wearing off, and I'm struggling to just stand up and be awake. And I'm like, can I pack up and go now? Well, other people are packing up and going, but I don't do that because I'm a professional. It's a little before 6. I'm mostly done packing up. I brought some Tupperware, Rubbermaid, whatever, to the hotel room that I didn't need to give myself more room, and I forgot it there. It's mostly tops for these little ones, and one little one I need. So I'm packing up, but I also need to make 2 hand truck trips, and I have to take everything that doesn't need more pieces. Then I'm gonna meet them with the car, get the pieces I need, come back, put it together, repeat. We don't have a parking pass, which we should have had, and so they might try to park behind and have one of them sit there with the hazards like we did last time, but that might not work. And the people next to me gave me coordinates of a park a few blocks away, well, maybe more, I don't know, where you could park for free. So now I'm waiting on the big dog to tell me what we're doing while I shuffle a few things around here still. Who's already gone, left just a crap load of garbage and a nice liquor bottle, which, you know, that's just class, that's just class. A little after 6, I'm 100% packed up. They're ripping up the carpets and everything else. I'm just waiting to see how far the big dog had to park and how far I have to take this first batch. And I'm confident I can fit all the rest of the second batch, so 2 trips total as predicted. It does make me think for shows like this, a lot of the weirdness, if you have a lot of stuff, there's certain rules. And if you only have 1 hand cart, there's certain rules. And if I could fit everything on 1 hand cart, I think I'd be in better shape. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't need to bring as much, but I don't know if I could condense it down to 1 hand cart either. Also, I'm fried, so I shouldn't be making decisions right now. There's a big line of people with like personal hand carts over there, waiting in line for something, maybe to get their cars out of park, I'm not sure. I've got my load 1, and I'm gonna walk down this way to try to meet those guys somewhere. We'll see how it goes. Finally done with the loud, crazy mess of Comic-Con. I can relax here at the loud, crazy mess that is the Corvette Diner. Day 5, no, day 6. What's today? Today's Monday. It's over, but I'm still at the hotel. I got almost 8 hours sleep last night, but I feel still terrible. I'm getting in an elevator. My throat's still, you know, throaty, sore. I've been sore every day a little bit, like my feet from standing or whatever, but pushing that hand cart and everything, like I'm just all over body sore. But what I'm gonna do is rent one of those scooters, which is fun, ride to Dunkin' Donuts, which I don't normally have, and it reminds me of the East Coast. And then I should get back after having some hot coffee, which I haven't had the entire time I've been here, and a donut, and then basically pack up and go. Got my Dunkin' Donuts. I took the scooter, made a few wrong turns, but it was fine because I wasn't in that much of a hurry, and the scooter is fun. Here's the deal though. I have to take this scooter back, and I put the donuts in my, you know, thing like I'm pregnant. This I left sealed, but I'm gonna have to try to kind of one-hand it. All right, here we go. Well, the ride back was less fun than the ride there. And my hand is quite tired from holding the coffee with 3 fingers and the handlebar with 1, but we did it. Still about 3 hours from home. We stopped at this place that I always end up stopping at when I'm going down to LA or San Diego. I guess because it's like the first and last big bastion of a place to get food and ice cream and all the stuff you might need. It's got like regular McDonald's and stuff out there, but then there's like Frontierland in here. It's a cool little thing. Say there's one of these guys. Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, Bravo Farms. It's 104. It's hard to breathe. It's hard to breathe.
And that kind of brings us to the end. Basically, after that, I got back to my buddy's house, unpacked my car, repacked his car. I had to stop at my local comic shop to pick up some bags that my buddy Steve had brought for me, which was very nice of him because our car was so packed. Then I got home, then I unpacked the car, put it in the garage. It was the tiredest I'd been maybe in my life. It was pretty tiring. So now I'm gonna just kind of do a quick recap, a few things I missed, and then break down the hard numbers. So one thing I forgot to mention was at some point I spilled a little bit of soda on the floor. I opened it up and it went psh, and it was just a bit of a puddle, and I didn't have any paper towels or anything, and I couldn't find anybody, and so I realized that there was that retailer or Exhibitor Services, and one of them said cleaning, and I was like, oh, okay. I said, hey, no, first I went to services, and I said, hey, I just spilled a little bit of soda. Do you have any paper towels, or is there somewhere I could go to, get some Windex or whatever? And like, oh, you got to talk to the cleaning people. So I went down to the cleaning people, and I said the same thing, like, hey, I just spilled a little bit of soda. I said, okay, cool. Well, that's our you know, we have to clean that for you or something like that. I'm like, well, okay. And they're like, that's our cheapest service, is just clean something like that up. And I'm like, and already I'm like, you have to do it for me? Cheapest service? Like, this is gonna cost me money? Like, and he goes, yeah, and I might be getting the exact number wrong, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $50. I feel it was like 49 or 52. And he's like, yeah, that's the cheapest. So it'll be $52. And that's about as far as he got. And I was like, F that. Only I didn't say F that. And, you know, it just burst out of my mouth. I wasn't trying to be rude, and it was just some guy working there. It wasn't his fault. I said, listen, I'm sorry. I don't mean to yell at you. And I didn't like yell at him. I'm like, and he's like, no, I get it. And I'm like, that's crazy. I just need some paper towels or a mop or something. I can do it myself. I just don't have it with. And he's like, I know, that's how it is. So I went in the bathroom where they didn't have paper towels, but they had hand dryers, and just took wads and wads of toilet paper and stuffed them in my pockets, wads and wads of toilet paper stuffed in my pockets, and kind of cleaned it up myself. And it took me a few minutes, and it was free. But that was nuts. That is extortion. That is highway robbery. So F that. So then con sketches, I talked about a little bit. A lot of times I will take, you know, commissions or con sketches that they call them, to help me pass the time, to help make a little bit extra money, to make people happy that either specifically wanted one from me or just looking forward to getting some original art. I only did a few, and they were all very difficult. Not the subject matter necessarily, but it was hard to work at the table because even when I wasn't selling, it was busy in a way that kept me from really working, and I was so exhausted that back at the hotel room, I might not have been doing my best work, and or I was sacrificing sleep, which I was losing every night to get these sketches done. So in retrospect, I might not offer that again, or I might do what some artists do where they offer it ahead of time and then that's it. They don't do it at the show, they do them at home. So there's that. So let me I guess I'll get into, well, before I get into numbers, one other thing I forgot. Coming back, if you watch the video, I went to Corvette Diner and I had like a goofy hat, like a paper hat, and I had a Pikachu balloon on my arm and stuff. And one day coming back to my hotel, it was, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and there was a couple guys out front, and one of them looked kind of familiar, and it was Billy Zabka, who plays, oh my gosh, the bad guy from Karate Kid, who now is the hero, quote unquote, in Cobra Kai. And I'm blanking on his character's name, but it doesn't matter because if that didn't get across who he was. Anyway, I saw him and I was like, oh man, it's really him. And I didn't want to bother him too much, but it was like late. There was no one around. He was talking to two guys and I said, hey, excuse me, you know, I don't want to bother you, but I dig what you're doing on the new show. And he's like, oh, cool, thanks, man. And he shook my hand. And as he shook my hand, I realized I had a huge Pikachu on it. And I looked up and I realized I had the hat. And I'm like, oh, I look silly. I was just at a thing. And he's like, that's okay, it's Comic-Con, I get it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, sorry to interrupt. He's like, oh, you're not interrupting. I was just talking to these guys, thanking them because they're the creators of the show. So then I met them and I shook their hands. And that was all there was to it. It wasn't like a big networking thing. It was more of a fan thing. But it was a fun little moment that almost every time I go to Comic-Con, I get those. But you don't need to be an exhibitor to get those, is my point. So getting to that. I was an exhibitor. I've gone as a professional, which doesn't really get anything except for a free ticket and the ability to buy tickets for your friends and loved ones more easily than the average person. As an exhibitor, I got to go in early because I had to set up and I was there and everything. But it also made it harder to buy certain exclusives because my buddy got in on an exhibitor pass and he couldn't buy certain exclusives until like way later because there's restrictions. Fair enough, except he wasn't exhibiting. I just kind of got him in, you know, and he did watch my table for me a few times, but whatever. Numbers, you guys want numbers. So here's what's going on. I had a small press booth. Small press, there's different categories. The kind of the biggest is a 10 by 10 booth, which starts for $2,600. Can go up if you want more bells and whistles, and there's a couple discounts you can get. Oh, I'm sorry, $3,600 it starts at. You can get it down to about $2,600 by jumping through certain hoops if you're there the year before, whatever. That's kind of the high end that gets even higher. Then there's what they call tables, which are $1,100, which again, you can maybe get down to $1,000. Then there's what I did, which was small press, which is $600, and there's no discounter. I think it's just $600. Below that, and I'm not speaking in terms of status, but in terms of amount of space and in terms of money, is Artist Alley. And Artist Alley is basically free, and you get a half a table. So I had a 6-foot table and a little bit of area behind me. To get into small press, it's a juried system, so you have to be selected, which I was, but you also have to have a self-published comic book that came out that previous year, which I did. So if you don't have that, you can't even apply. Well, you can apply, but you won't qualify. So you either have to pay more and just get a table to sell whatever you want, or go as an artist and hopefully get it for free. I've applied to Artist Alley a few times, not gotten in. This is the first time I did small press, and I got in, so there you go. But that's $600 in right there. Now, I didn't fly, I drove down. Depending on where you are in the country, you may have to fly, you may be able to drive. There's pros and cons to each. I drove down with my buddies. I don't know that it saved me that much money, but it allowed me to bring more stuff, and I had company, so I went that way. But that's about a day of driving for me each way. Excuse me. It's been about a week, and my voice still hasn't 100% come back. It's mostly come back, but you could hear it's little. That's another thing. I would very much advise having a partner or a friend or someone that can help you. I had the big dog with me, and he helped me a bit, but he was there mostly to have fun. But if I had a dedicated person where I could actually, you know, go there, you know, leave the table for a few hours and go and have lunch downtown and come back, but I was always there, standing most of the time, talking most of the time, and it was exhausting. I mean, it was sort of fun, but it was like a marathon, you know what I mean? And having someone there to shoulder the load when he was there made it a lot easier. Not just for talking, but mentally. You know, it's hard to stay up and focused for that long, for that many days in a row, while I'm also not getting enough sleep every single night. That could be any show, but this was the longest show. I've never done a 5-day show, 3 of which those days were 10-hour days. The other was 8, and the other was like 4 or 5 or something. So anyway, I'm $600 in. Now driving down, there was 3 of us, so I chipped in for gas and tolls $50. If I was going by myself, that would have been more, obviously. So now I'm $650 in. Hotel. We stayed at a hotel that was probably a little bit more expensive than we needed to because I stayed closer to the convention center since I was exhibiting. I wasn't sure if I could afford to be further away, because usually I'd get further away and get a shuttle service. We got closer. It was walkable within about 20 minutes. They had scooters, which ended up helping, and I don't even know if there was a shuttle bus. There might have been, but we were so close it seemed like not worth it. So the actual hotel, it was broken down between 3 of us again. We had 2 beds, and there was like a day bed pull-out thing, so it was the 3 of us in 2 beds and the day bed pull-out, so we split it evenly, and it was about $600-ish, but we had to park the car, and we parked through the hotel, and it was about $50 a night, so it ended up being about $650 for just me, sharing it with 2 other people, split 3 ways for parking and hotel for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, arguably, I could have went home Sunday, but we were driving and there was no way, so we stayed an extra day. Wednesday was preview night, so I had to be there for that. That's 5 days. We also stayed one other day on the way down, Tuesday night, at a cheaper hotel, still expensive. Again, you might be able to cut some of these costs, or they might be higher for you, but I'm just saying, for me, it was $600 for the table, $650 for the hotel, plus another $50 for the other hotel. So that's, I'm doing math here. So $1,300. $1,300 for the hotel and the table. On top of that, there was the gas, which I just said, and I'm allocating about $150 for food and other things for 7 days, because it was 5 days of the show, 2 days of road trip, 5 days, you know, and I bought some stuff and brought it with me, but I still had to buy things here and there. So the table, the hotel, gas, parking, miscellaneous food, all that came to, rough estimate, about $1,500. Total I made for all 5 days, $1,600. So basically I made about $100 for 5 days of work, 2 days of travel, not including the about a week of preparation I did before it. For everything from bagging things up to organizing to inventory to putting in new orders, all that stuff to the paperwork. So roughly 2 weeks of work, all encompassing, I got $100 for. Now, did I talk to a few people in the industry? Did I maybe make some connections? Did I maybe make some new fans? Did I say, sure. Was it worth the effort I put in? Probably not, especially considering I've gone before and talked to people and made connections and maybe handed out a card or given my comic book to a publisher, which you could do as a professional or even as just an attendee. No one's stopping you from doing that. There's no rules against it. So I don't recommend going into small press unless you have a huge following, a big name. You know, I've got 800 something subscribers on my YouTube channel. I've got like 1,000 followers on Instagram. You know, I don't have that big of a following. If yours is huge and you have a built-in audience where you know you're gonna make a certain amount of sales, then maybe it's worth it. Or there are people there who don't care about money. There are people I was tabling next to that had gone more than 1 year and kind of lose money every year. I can't do that, and it's demoralizing. Even if I could afford to do it, it's demoralizing. But their idea is, hey, we're here to get our name out. Hopefully some Hollywood producer will see it and make a movie of it. We like seeing our friends, and like they get enough out of it that even if they're not making money. But for me, I've gotten to the point where when I do conventions, I want to make money. A show where I break even is not a good show. That's like, oh, that was a bad show, but at least I didn't lose money, because I rarely ever lose money anymore. I always break even or make profit, even if it's only 50 bucks, 100 bucks, like this one. The difference is normally I'll do a show, I'll drive there, do 2 days of work, drive home, and I'm like, man, I only made 100 bucks. That stunk. But it was 2 to 3 days of work driving back and forth. I wasn't exhausted. Not 2 weeks of my life and I made basically the same profit. And that's a bad show, even locally. So going this far, you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't go to Comic-Con. I love Comic-Con. That's the other thing that made it hard. Sitting there, it felt like any other mediocre show where I wasn't doing that great. The difference is, normally a mediocre show, I'm not doing that great, I go home, whatever. This is a show I've gone to and had a lot of fun at every year. One of my favorite times of year, every year. It's like going to Christmas or Hanukkah or Halloween or whatever your favorite holiday is and kind of like working the door, you know? But also, you didn't really get much money. So that's kind of what it felt like. Like, I'm working the show, so I'm not enjoying the show, but I also didn't really make any money. And the little bit of things I got, like, you know, some interviews with some actors and talking to some industry people, like, again, I didn't have to have a table to do that. If I didn't have a small press table, if I had a more expensive table, I would have lost money. If I had an Artist Alley table and made the same amount of sales, I would have made $700, which is okay. And I'm not saying $700 is nothing, but I can make that at a local show. Being that this is like San Diego Comic-Con, I really thought it would be a lot bigger deal. And I had an area for my comics that I've worked on and I've collaborated with, and I had a lot of pins and fan art prints, which I checked ahead of time that you can have as long as you've got your publications. And I had thought about making like half or more of my table about the comic, and I wanted to bring my stand-up, but I couldn't, so I just went with the fan art because I was afraid of not making my money back. And from what I could tell, the people in small press, even those that were doing well or better than me, weren't making a lot of money. And most of my sales were from fan art. I sold a couple of comics, but no more than I would at a normal show. I sold a lot of pins and I sold a lot of prints, and that's how I made my money. If I was only selling comics, maybe I would have sold more. Maybe, and I don't have the number of comics I sold here. Let's say it was 10. That's just a crazy number. Let's say it's 20. Maybe if I only did, I should have figured that out beforehand, I apologize. But let's say I sold 20 comics. If I had concentrated half or more of my booth on just comics, let's say I doubled or tripled that. Let's say I made 40 sales, 60 comic sales. That would barely cover anything. I would have lost hundreds of dollars. And I can't afford to do that. So while it's a shame, the whole fan art thing, it's like, that's the only way I could be there and make the money. And even then, I wasn't really making money. Whereas I do other shows, like I have Silicon Valley Comic-Con coming up soon, right near my house. Table was half the price. There's no other real expenses. If I do the same amount of money, I'll be up like $1,000 for 2 days. You know, I'm not saying I will make that, but you know, but if I was in Artist Alley, maybe I would have done better too, because I've heard a lot of people talking that Artist Alley was much busier than small press. And a lot of people don't seem to kind of get what small press is, and they're not sure if they want to even see it. Here's the other thing. I kept telling people I was L11. That's my table number. That's what they gave me, and I was. No one could find that, including myself. It was row 1500. But if you didn't know row 1500, you're like, L11, everything's row this, row that. And all the table numbers are covered up, so like, you can't find it. So I started on my social media saying, oh, row 1500, and I put up Comic-Con, you know, banners on everything, and I posted on Twitter and Instagram a couple times a day, every day. You know, it wasn't like I was being lazy. And, you know, I've worked retail and I've worked theme parks. I know, you know, you make eye contact, you give a head nod, they come, I understand retail and things like that. So it's not like I'm one of those people sitting there with my head down, drawing, not paying attention. Again, there might've been people doing way better than me, but let's say somebody did double what I did. And that means that they made like about $1,500, $1,600 profit if they had the same expenses as me. And if they didn't have a partner to split it with and whatever else. Here's the other thing. When I sell a book for $5, at best, I make $2.50. When I sell a print, I could make $10, $15, you know, depending on the deal, I could make more. And so someone who sold the same amount of money as me in books is making a lot less profit too. So the whole thing is just weird. Everybody was nice. All my neighbors were nice. I had a pleasant time. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it was horrible for that reason. The other thing is parking. Theoretically, I think I was supposed to buy a parking pass for about $140 or so, maybe a little less, which would have meant I made no money or actually lost money, because it's set up for like big people, like big companies to have pallet systems and all that. But if you're small, then you can kind of wheel your stuff in the front door, that's fine, but there's nowhere to park. So then you're supposed to buy for this parking pass. We kind of inadvertently weaseled around that and sort of parked illegally for 5 minutes the first time, and then the second time I had to walk, you know, blocks and blocks in the heat with my hand truck twice, which kind of stunk, but if I didn't do that, I would have actually lost money on the whole endeavor, so I'm glad I did. I'm just checking my notes to see if I forgot. I mean, there's probably more I forgot. And you know, if you watch this whole thing, or even if you're just cutting to the end, ask questions below in the comments section, the Q&A. I'm happy to answer whatever. You know, again, there could be people that did better than me. There's definitely people that did better than me, but I feel like even the people that did amazing in small press couldn't have been doing that well because it just didn't seem like the business was there. At least, and I'll clarify this too, there's several rows, and I'm speaking mainly of my row, where I'm looking left and right, and I see people making the same or less amount of sales as I am. With a few exceptions, obviously, which again goes back to the people that were doing well had to have had a big following going into it. Nobody goes there and picks up a big following. And it didn't seem any different than any other medium to large size show as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't do it again, definitely not. I didn't make any money and it wasn't enjoyable and I exhausted myself. I wouldn't go bigger unless I had some kind of crazy project like, you know, where there's money behind it or a TV deal or something. I would go smaller. I would do Artist Alley, knowing that I might only make, you know, $700, let's say, but I have heard that their sales there were better because the traffic's better. People understand what Artist Alley is. They're there to buy art. And sometimes when they hit our area, they're not necessarily looking for art or comics. They just sort of end up there, you know? But so that's it. The up down is down. Not good for making money. If you're there for another reason, you know, go for it, I guess. But there's plenty of other shows you could do that or just do it without buying a table. So this was a good experience in that I always wanted to do it, and I've done it, and I got it out of my system, and I'll never wonder what if, but not again. Do not recommend. All right, thanks. Gazbot out.